Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota, the dream of a reunion with Kyle Schwarber is dead. Are all the top stars just a fantasy at this point or not? We'll talk about that, plus the latest from the winter meetings. It's Tuesday with Roman, CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by our friends at Toyota. It is Tuesday, as I like to call it, a dark Tuesday. Kyle Schwarber will not be a Cub again. Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopoulos, and Justin Roman in for a Tuesday. And we have Sarah running the ones and twos.
Yeah. I'm not sad because I never expected.
Okay.
She's just disappointed.
You and Gary Ross both. He said, Kyle was never coming here. Why do we keep harping on it? You and Gary Ross share similar views here.
Gary says I need to get off my high horse for Kyle, as he was never an option. That's my problem. Mm-hmm. He was not an option. The Cubs were never in on this. There were a lot of teams mentioned for Kyle Schwarber. None of them were named the Chicago Cubs. When Jesse Rogers reported the news, Passan, I believe, is the one who broke it this morning, but Jesse was saying on the radio he believes the Reds were number 2 on the list. That's a problem for me.
Yeah.
That's a problem for me. The Cubs have identified to themselves, this is too much money for a DH that's going to be 33 years old entering this season, and he's going to the Phillies for 5 years, $150 million. I don't have a problem with the fact that he's going back to Philly.
Right.
I think there's a possibility if the Cubs offered 5 for $150, he was still going back to Philly.
Right.
But the Cubs aren't even offering that. They're not even in on this conversation. And that's what bothers me.
Yeah.
Not just because they made the wrong decision once before and didn't tender him in a contract, and now he's going to go to the Hall of Fame, most likely as a member of the Phillies. That's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
But because teams like the Reds are in on this, and it bothers me in many, many ways, because I think he could have been a star to your offseason that made it look like and let people know we're serious. We made steps last year, and we're serious about getting back. And I don't know if I see that clear path. I don't see a clearer path than that right now for the Cubs going to that. I'm not saying they can't have a good offseason, but I don't think the path's as clear as signing Schwarber was.
Let me ask you a question, because I'm actually, anyone who watched this podcast the past few months, Dylan Cease and Kyle Schwarber were my two wishes of the offseason, right? Both are not going to happen, okay? But if I told you that, Amai is still out there and the Cubs are heavily linked to him, right? Stud pitcher, top of rotation pitcher. Also, someone like Alex Bregman is still out there. Cubs are linked to him as well. Now, Kyle Schwarber was the dream all along because, the World Series hero, 2016, we were going to make up for our bad decision a few years back. Mm-hmm. But there's zero position flexibility with Kyle Schwarber. Alex Bregman, on the other hand, third base and DH, right? Allows more flexibility. So if I told you that we signed someone like Alex Bregman, does that make this thing go away a little bit more about the Kyle Schwarber situation?
If it means that they can also add Imai or something like that. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying there aren't combos that could make me almost as happy as having Schwarber back, but this team is looking for guaranteed pop. They don't have the guaranteed home. We just had a bunch of guys that hit 30 home runs, but none of them are the type of player that you would say, oh, they're definitely hitting 30 again the next year, because they didn't the previous year.
Right. Or 56.
Or 56.
Yep, right.
Home runs since like 2022 on in Major League Baseball. It's Judge, number 1, tied for number 2, Ohtani and Schwarber.
Wow.
That's how many home runs he's hit. He's guaranteed to club you some home runs.
Yeah.
And that's what drives Major League offenses right now, is a guy that can slug home runs. And Schwarb's coming back would have been a great story. And when I see that the Reds were number 2 and the Pirates were number 3 in the list, I'm just like, how can the Cubs not be in there?
So Ken Rosenthal with The Athletic apparently has the true top 3. I'm sorry.
Okay,
No,
okay.
this is going to
This is
hurt
No,
you.
this is
Sean
gonna
is
make me
Sean
upset.
is-
I'm just driving in the knife.
Okay.
Sean has broken in and taken over.
The Phillies offered 5,150. Orioles apparently offered that as well. So the
Ooh.
Phillies matched the Orioles 5,150.
And the Reds, I thought, no?
And the Reds were the third team. So the Reds offered 5,125 apparently for Kyle Schwarber.
And the Pirates offered 4 for 100.
120 apparently.
120.
per
Okay.
K. So
Well, listen, $33 million a year is a big contract. I'm just saying you're going to have all this money off the books after this season.
Yeah.
Why can't Schwarber be that guy?
I hear you. I just want to talk you off the ledge a little bit because it is December 9th. You know, there are still some major pieces that are out there. And I told myself and I told all of our audience, I'm going to judge this team on how they look roster-wise on opening day, not on December 9th. I wanted Schwarber and I wanted Cease, but I'll be pretty damn happy if we get Bregman and Amai, or, you know, we get someone like Amai and make a trade, or Bregman to make a trade. So there are still a lot of pieces that are out there and a lot of ways for this team to be better than they were last year. But it's just not going to be Kyle Schwarber.
Well, and look, you're 100% right. And I think like the whole idea of why we do this show and why we're Cubs fans is we want the Cubs to be better than they were the year before. And we want the Cubs to win a World Series. So you are right that what I'm about to say comes with the huge caveat of there are more moves to be made, and there are many ways for the Chicago Cubs to improve the team. And just really quick, Luke, a piece of advice on life. When you get on a high horse, never get on a horse on drugs. Just never, don't, just never
I'll
a good
be honest
idea.
with you, I'm never getting on a horse.
It's just not a good idea.
I did it once. I'll never do it again, by the
I'm
way.
never getting on a horse.
Never get on a
way.
horse on drugs.
Too
Just
unpredictable.
life lesson. And the big part about it is on a day like today, I can't help but feel like as a Cubs fan, you know, there's a little bit of Godfather CHGO inside all of us today. And that's what's upsetting. It isn't just the fact that the legendary Kyle Schwarber isn't coming home. It's about all the other pieces of news that I've also heard about today. The first one being Michael Cerami from Bleacher Nation coming out with an article saying that the Chicago Cubs, when it comes to Alex Bregman, are waiting out the market to see if the Boston Red Sox sign a different impact back or trade for Ketel Marte to hopefully have their deal, the value on the deal come down. And then it's the Cubs versus the Tigers, and maybe they can get them at their price. The other one about it, too, is Sahada Sharma, who does amazing work for The Athletic, talking at the winter meetings about how he's giving the Cubs credit for just recently in this past year getting involved in high-end free agents again. Just giving them credit for making phone calls again. The other part about it, too, is that there's a player on this team right now named Dansby Swanson, who we gave a 7-year deal to and $177 million. I understand that the AAV computes out differently where it's a little bit less than $30 million. But ladies and gentlemen, would you rather have Dansby Swanson or Kyle Schwarber on your team right now? And then the final part about it is we are the Chicago Cubs. So I get it. Why are we still harping on Kyle Schwarber? I understand that, but we are also not an eBay franchise, okay? We are not on eBay trying to auction for these guys, and we're sitting around waiting to see if our low, mid-level deal is going to come through or not, all right? If you don't get Kyle Schwarber and he goes back to the Philadelphia Phillies, that's fine. But you have to make a phone call. There is no discussion that he is one of the higher-end impact bats in baseball, also on the free agent market. And I just want to see the Chicago Cubs involved, right? And I just want to see them try and make a run at it. If he goes back to the Phillies, that is fine. If we end up Alex Bregman, I'm going to thumbs that up. But I'm sorry. I'm just upset. I'm just a little upset that he isn't coming home, that a guy with 56 home runs isn't coming back. And my final point on this is that last year we got a proof of concept that when Kyle Tucker was on this baseball team, we were a 90-plus win baseball team that could possibly go to the World Series and won a playoff round. He got hurt, didn't work out. Kyle Tucker's about to get $300 or $400 million. I applaud them that we had him for $17.5 million, but that's a proof of concept that those impact players are necessary to compete in the National League with the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Phillies, and the Mets. So that's why I'm just upset. Like, Justin, you're right. We're going to find other ways, you know what I mean, to slice this up and get better as a baseball team. But forgive me if I'm upset that Kyle Schwarber is now returning to the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cubs didn't even get involved.
That's right. There are ways to make your team better, but the easiest way is to go ahead and spend money on the right guys. And he is a guy that changes your lineup. You have to replace Kyle Tucker's first half of the season. That's the only time last year you were an elite team. the first half of the season when PCA was at his peak, and more importantly, Tucker was at his peak, which led to, some would say, Seiya being at his peak. You have to have that big bat that impacts everything. How are you going to do that this offseason? Listen, I know you might be telling me that pitching is the path, and I've said, okay, fine, if that's the path you want to go, pitching. But I've already heard the Cubs say, now that Shota's back, and we're happy that Shota's back, we're going to be adding one frontline pitcher potentially to the rotation, not two. So that, again, all right, well, who is this frontline guy going to be? He better be really, really good.
Would you consider him a frontline guy?
Maybe. I hope so, right? Like, we hope he is, but nobody really knows exactly how the flat fastball is going to play at the major league level. So maybe he will be, and he's probably the best way to go about that if you're not going trade market. If you're going about spending money and not depleting your farm system, then he's that guy. I just think Schwarber was the one clear guy you could look at and say, that guy is unquestionably going to impact your lineup, and the Cubs didn't even sniff around the idea. So I know everybody in the chat is saying this was never going to happen. I agree with you. Okay. That's what I'm angry about. That they weren't even.
You're making
my point. I'm mad that it's not even in the conversation for this team. Don't tell me how much it costs to redo Wrigley Field. I know what you're spending around the neighborhood, the millions and millions and millions. I want you getting us the thing that will make you the most money is winning.
1,000%. I mean, we saw it. I mean, the Cubs had 5 home games last year in the playoffs, right? That's a good thing for our city, good thing for the franchise. I want to talk to you guys off the ledge a little bit because, again, Alex Bregman is still out there, and the Cubs are linked to him. And, Amaya's out there, and the Cubs linked to him. Jesse Rogers, who I will say, in my opinion, is one of the more negative Cubs guys I've ever seen tweet and talk and everything. Nice guy, I'm sure, but I feel like he's a little bit more on the negative side. He says the Cubs are close to a trade, right? So, I mean, what is that trade? There's the free agent. You know who's available free agency wise, right? You don't know exactly who's available trade wise. There could be a major surprise happening. The Padres are apparently looking to trade. The Mets there are some powerhouse teams that are looking to trade. The Dodgers apparently are looking for Scoob. I mean, there's things we don't know about behind the scenes. We're not getting him. I'm saying, but we don't know who's available in the trade market where the Cubs are linked to. So my thing is, I understand. I was beating the Schwarber horse or the drum the entire offseason. I wanted him to come home 1,000%. But again, I'll say Bregman plays a position, has tons of power as well, great offensive hitter, great defender, and can be a third baseman and a DH, where Schwarber is only a 33-year-old DH for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I will say again, I didn't think Schwarber was coming back to Chicago. I just say he was the perfect player to add to your offense, and I'm mad because they didn't do it. Just like I was mad they didn't kick the tires on Aaron Judge a couple years ago, and now you look at that deal and go, wow, Aaron Judge would have been pretty sweet in this Cubs lineup. That really could have worked for us. There's been plenty of guys like that. So I'm mad that they weren't in on the conversation, and I'm mad that they're thinking about value maybe more than they are talent. And we can get into that. And by the way, if the Dodgers somehow pull off a Skubal thing, I saw that. I don't know if that was a real report or not. But if they were to be the team that landed Skubal, then we just cancel the season.
I mean,
we'll just stop. The podcast can go on hiatus. We'll all go on vacation because we can cancel the season and go straight to the lockout.
Welcome to CHGO Dodgers, everybody. Brought to you by LAX.
But and Joey, you said something I want to talk to you about. You said about that we weren't in the conversation, and here's the one thing I want to know, what hurts more? Because sometimes the Cubs aren't even being mentioned here, and some fans are mad about that. Sometimes, the Cubs were right there. They were in the conversation, and fans are mad about that, right? So I just feel like, bottom line, we didn't get the guy. I don't care if we weren't in the conversation or if we were the runners-up. We didn't get the guy. Time to move on, right? I also don't know if they know exactly every single team that called, every single team that was kicking the tires. Was Jed interested at all in Schwarber? Maybe, but then maybe the first phone call was like, we're going a different direction because that price. For us to say that he didn't call at all to put out a feeler, I don't know that's a fact. I don't know that it's not a fact, but I'm just saying, we also don't know what happened behind the scenes when it comes to Jed and the agent of Schwarber.
I just am disappointed once you hear Orioles, Reds, Pirates.
Yeah.
To not even have your name in the cut. Somebody asked, is he really a Hall of Famer? Yeah, if he hits 30 home runs the next couple of years, he's going to hit 450 to 500 home runs. That's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. You hit 500 home runs, you're going in the Hall of Fame.
And if he goes to the playoffs, he's got a great shot at breaking a lot of postseason records too as well. So I mean, I get it with the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame right now. Jeff Kent got in yesterday. I think Kyle Schwarber's got a shot. I'll just do that for right now.
We're going to talk more about it. And what I think I'm taking out of a quote from Jed Hoyer yesterday, will it make you as mad as it did me? Or am I just looking too much into the exact words? It's coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. But first, a word from our sponsors. Toyotathon is on. Get your Toyota now while the getting's good. Score value on the versatile RAV4. I mean, I'm talking versatile. America's #1 selling vehicle. Or you can ride with Tacoma. That's their rugged weekend warrior, lugging the kids around up into the snow. Or hit the road with Camrys available all-wheel drive. It's available because you need it living in Chicago. Snow up to our eyeballs. Red hot savings are ready for you at Toyotathon. Visit your Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. What a time it is in the history of our world, in our lives, of our solar system. This is the time right now to sign up to be a CHGO diehard. Access to our exclusive written content, a free t-shirt, discounts on all the future merch and events that we have, plus access to our CHGO Discord lounge where we all just hang out. Some of us in velvet robes.
Yes.
Some of us in PJs.
Nightcap.
Some of us buck naked. I won't talk about that. We talk sports and more. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can sign up and join all the people we call sickos and diehards in our Discord lounge. And you get the CHGO diehard card, which is instant credibility.
Exclusive.
All around the world.
Hey, Chicago sports fans, did you know that right now the Blackhawks and the Bulls, their season is on the Chicago Sports Network? It's CHSN. So go to chsn.com/podcast to sign up for your 7-day free trial of the All Access plan, which gives you over 300 live games per year. Catch out every basket and every goal from your mobile device, television, or wherever you want to watch. It's CHSN, your home for the Blackhawks and Bulls all season long. Chicago Sports Network, your home. Stream advantage. CHSN also available on Xfinity, DirecTV Stream, and Fubo. So visit chsn.com today for more details.
Primetime Patty Boyle. Back on the CHGO Cubs podcast, we get so much to talk about. Even in the breaks, we're talking about it. There's just not enough time to get it all in, you know? So here's the deal. Schwarber's going 5 for 150 back to the Phillies. We'll get to the Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers in a second, but just to put a wrap on everything and how it impacts the Cubs. I saw the quote, Bruce Levine did the interview on Marquee with Jed Hoyer, and I believe this was actually before the Schwarber stuff was even announced. Not that matters, but he said that's the most important thing, to cover all your bases. So talking about being in on a lot of conversations, which Sahadev Sharma mentioned. Make sure you're involved in all these different markets and find the best combination of value and talent. Now, I'm reading between the lines, and I'm looking at semantics, and I'm looking at placement of words, and maybe I'm thinking, okay, this is a thought-out process in his head. Mm-hmm. Is he saying value before talent on purpose? Is that am I being too cynical? He says value before talent. Are they actually thinking we want the best combination of value and talent? Because in my mind, if I'm saying it, I would say talent
and value.
And that's what I want the Cubs to look for. I don't want you to be thinking value first.
Yeah.
You're the Cubs. That's a move the Brewers should be making.
Right.
You should be doing talent, then value.
So I agree with you, but I think maybe you're overreacting a little bit because, I mean, it's just he was – in a conversation, like you could go back and play anything I've said in this podcast, and I could be like, "Oh, I wish I worded it different." Right?
That's fair.
So, like, and you talk for a living as well, so you know how that is. So, I mean, ultimately, I see nothing wrong with what he said. You don't want reckless spending. You do want to find value, correct? But you also want talent. So, I personally didn't think what he said was offensive at all. But I hear what you're saying, but I think that maybe it was more of a. He could say it differently next time and make you happy. Yeah. But I don't think he meant anything like, oh yeah, we're bargain shopping only.
So it's like the 2032 comment or whatever it was from
that was just stupid.
From Carter Hawkins. But you know what I'm saying? Here's my thing, Joey. It's like I believe when they're saying it, when we're saying this on a live podcast, I haven't planned what I'm saying. Right. This is just flowing out of my mouth, which is some of it's BS.
Right.
The reality is when Jed Hoyer says something, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he should, but he doesn't really ever say anything.
Right.
So whatever comes out of his mouth, I believe has been rehearsed in his head 1,000 times.
Okay.
So I believe that process is ingrained in his head. I don't think he's freelancing on a podcast like we are.
Right.
Jed knows exactly what he's going to say to a
intelligent
Bruce.
spending for a long time. Intelligent spending. That was like a thought out thing he had.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, if I was allowed like latitude to have a follow up on that, I would just love to hear what Jed Hoyer's philosophy is on the word value.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we can all have a conversation about talent, but when we talk about value per this conversation that we're having right now, is that when you look at Kyle Schwarber, which I swear we're going to move on from in just a second.
No,
he's
it's fine.
He's a $30 million AAV player, right? And now, which a lot of people are saying here in the chat, and I tend to agree with them, that now that he might be the first pebble in the dam, that we're going to see a flush of more moves and transactions after now this one player is off the market. And yes, he returned back to his same team. But if we can just move that over to Alex Bregman now, how does Jed evaluate the value of Alex Bregman? If you look at what it was last year, it was 4 years for $120 million.
Right.
And I ain't a math guy, but I also think that's also a $30 million AAV contract. Mm-hmm. Is that the same deal that he's slapping on the table right now for Alex Bregman? Is it more money? Are they going to pay more money than what they offered last year? What does that look like? So those are just the questions that I have. And for me as a Cubs fan, if Alex Bregman is the guy, if for you, Tetsuya Imai is the guy, I think the clock is ticking for the Cubs right now, right? I think the hourglass has been turned over. Right. And I'm not saying, like you said, I agree with you, not about getting reckless,
right,
but there is a moment where I think the Cubs need to probably get a little bit more aggressive if they want to get at least that starting pitcher that they want or that impact bat, at least one of those guys. Because if you get, let's just say we get Bregman and we don't get that starting pitcher, sure, maybe a Zach Gallen is still on the table. Maybe you do trade for that pitcher, right? Maybe that makes sense.
Mackenzie Gore or something.
But one of those ones, starting pitcher or impact bat, I feel like the Cubs need to probably start maybe pushing the button, that aggression button a little bit in the next week to seal the deal on a guy that they are targeting and wanting. You don't want the C or the D plan, right?
Sure.
Like, and that's where I'm landing on with this.
I said from the very beginning, I think they're going to get an impact starter and an impact bat. I still believe that. I know Cease and Schwarber are gone, but there are still options out there to have an impact bat and an impact pitcher. There really are. On Maya Bregman, I'm not saying we're getting both those guys, but like literally if we got both those guys, I'm just as happy as Cease and Schwarber. I mean, really, you can make a case for either one. So it's not over yet. But I hear you guys, like value seems to be a trigger word for you guys, and I get it. But don't forget, it's all about negotiations. I mean, even in radio and in TV and here at CHGO, it's all negotiations. You know, so the big boss says this, you come back with this. So you do at some point want value, but you obviously don't want to skimp on the talent either.
I've got a couple of, Sarah, we got a couple Toyota chats that I want to bring up. Michael Field there, 3161. He says, starting 2 years ago, I've been way more mad at Crane Kenny than Jed. His job was supposed to be to get the Cubs barrels of money, hasn't, and the marquee deal has been botched from the start. Then you go back to Niren with another Toyota chat, and Niren's talking about, hey, do you think like 250, what was the number you put on it? Niren? Do you think 225 is enough to catch the Brewers? I have no proof that it is based on the last few years. Like, I have no faith that it's going to be. Like, I agree it should be, but it depends on what you spend what's the value of the 225 or whatever that number is. And I don't know the answer to that, but I guess we're going to find out this season because it's not going up to $300 million, the payroll, right? And when you look at, you mentioned Imai and Bregman, okay, would that make people happy? I think it's way more likely that if you get Imai, you're not doing Bregman. You'll do some other sort of thing. You'll go with the young guys. If Bregman somehow falls to the Cubs because the market splats on him and he's just left and nobody wants to do the short-term deal or whatever, and somehow Bregman ends up on the Cubs because Shaw was traded to get the frontline pitcher.
Really? Okay.
That's what I would say. Like, if somebody's going to trade us Cabrera or somebody's going to trade us Joe Ryan or somebody's going to trade us whoever, one of the frontline pitchers you really want, Mackenzie Gore, then a major league player is going to be a major league player with lots of control is going to be included in that deal. I would say that's probably Shaw. It's also going to include some of your top prospects. So it could be Shaw and Caissie and some other things happening. So that's my opinion, is if you're going to get a frontline starter via trade, there's a good chance teams are asking for either Shaw. They might be asking for Nico Hoerner in an expiring deal.
I think Shaw is a hard no for Bregman, because Bregman's going to here's what my problem with Bregman is, that his deal is going to be opt out. So ultimately, when you sign him, it could say a 3 or 4 year deal, but it could be a 1 year deal because of all the opt outs. So I don't think you sign Bregman to get rid of Shaw. I think Shaw is your answer long term. I think if you get Bregman this year, Shaw becomes like your super utility guy, or like you said at the end there, maybe Hoerner gets moved because Shaw was a natural second baseman to begin with.
Right, and I think that's a little bit of what they're probably negotiating right now. I think Joseph Crosdale in the chat here, another Toyota super chat, but Bregman doesn't hit the value, so unless he takes the deal, he just opted out. Or do you see the Cubs going higher? Only way you could be maybe via incentives, which I think is fine. Yeah, I mean, incentives are great. They're very team-friendly, right? I mean, you want someone to hit certain marks. They're not very player-friendly, so a guy on the open market might blanch at that. And to Niren's comment about $225 million, look, we've seen it before. There's plenty of ways to get up to $225 million in the payroll. Brandon Morrow, Tyler Chatwood, you know what I mean? Daniel Descalso. There's plenty of ways to do it. My thing is sometimes when you are in a position like the Cubs that are trying to push your chips a little bit further in, you do have the luxury to go out and get the player that you think is best for your situation instead of maybe finding the best deal out there on the market. And I'll just say it again that I don't know anything about Kazuma Okamoto, but let's just pretend for a second maybe he's 80% the player that Bregman is, but he's half the price, which I keep coming back to.
Which would be value.
It would be value, but I would rather have Bregman. I'd rather have Bregman, man, because it just brings that certainty of production, and also that value on the deal gets rewarded with the production and the talent on the team. So you can do it. You could spread the money around on a bunch of mid-tier guys all you want to, but I think the thesis, at least here on CHGO Cubs, this offseason is we all want this is a solid baseball team.
Yes.
What we want is impactful high-end talent sprinkled on top of the good. Yeah. The greatness sprinkled on top of the good. We already have the good. We have a solid core and a solid foundation, which honestly, let's just do it right now. Jed deserves a ton of credit for, right? We are defensively really sound. We do have depth with the starting pitching. We just don't have that high-end stuff. We don't have the cherry on top of the sundae yet. And that's what I'm banging. That's what I'm banging the drum for, man.
Yes.
But the yet part is something they said for 108 years leading up to
I know. Look at 2016 happened about almost 10 years ago. But I mean, Ricketts has shown in the past that he has spent. I know everybody thinks that he's cheap, but like he has been a top 3 payroll guy before when that window was wide open. So I don't buy the fact that he's cheap. Now, I would like him to spend more every single year. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's December 9th. I know you're reacting to the Kyle Schwarber news and everything, but there's still a lot of paths to being even better than we were last year. And last year was a damn good year. So there's still ways to get better, and I'm confident that they will address the needs.
And just really quick to that point, I think you're bringing up a really great point in that I don't buy that whole the Ricketts thing. I don't see it either. I think that sometimes they act a little cautiously. I do sometimes believe that maybe they take considerations that go outside the baseball diamond of the product on the field when they figure out the formula of how they're going to spend on the team that I personally just disagree with, but it's not my money. But to your point, all Tom has to do is go to his bookshelf and find that old 2016 DVD and say, how did I get there?
Right.
How did I get there? All right, I had an interesting young core, which honestly was better than the core that we have right now, to be very fair. But yeah, I signed this guy named John Lester. And oh yeah, that's right, I spent some money on this guy named Ben Zobrist. And guess what happened, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, there's
and I also spent a lot of money on Jason Hayward, too. Which I think made him a little gun-shy looking back. Because,
that's fine.
But
I'll go to bat for it. The dude was a Gold Glove right fielder for them. And if you look at that 2016 DVD, Jason Hayward was picking up some pretty quality hits, especially in that Dodgers series too as well. I'm not trying to excuse and say that the Jason Hayward contract worked out, but he was a component and a piece that was important to a World Series team. So,
and the speech.
And you're never going to bat
1,000.
a perfect 1,000 on big free agent deals. You're not.
But you did on the Lester deal. The Lester deal perhaps is the greatest free agent contract in Chicago sports history.
I think
dollar for dollar. Him and Marian Hossa.
I was going to say Hossa's pretty good
right?
too.
The dollar for dollar return on the contract that you spent, that was big time money, was an absolute home run. So, I mean, I'm not going to feel too sorry that the Hayward thing didn't work out because they crushed the John Lester deal. Let's try and do that again.
But Joey,
that's where I'm at
I
with
wasn't
that.
even. What I was saying is that's even more of a pro in the Ricketts does spend money category.
Right. No, I'm with
because
you.
Hayward, fine, whatever. But like he spent initially. Hayward was very sought after that year. Very sought after. I believe Dodgers and Cardinals were after him too. But we got him because we spent, right. So Ricketts has spent before, and yes, we all want him to spend more again.
Time to do it
It's
again.
just getting further and further away. We still haven't seen a $200 million player yet on the Cubs, and I don't know when that will finally happen. More coming up on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. When we come back, Edwin Diaz, what does that mean to the Cubs? It's next on the CHGO Cubs podcast. Our friends at Sunnyside are here to elevate your football season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping right now. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you are in the state of Illinois, Sunnyside, they've got a location for you. They've got spots as far south as Champaign, as far north as South Beloit. Stop into the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff. Head to their website for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Now, enter the code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. If you're a returning customer, congratulations. Use code CHGO50. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders. And when it's cold out, everything should say Sunnyside.
And when you're talking about cold Chicago, it's the season of snow. And if you're going to get that season of snow, you need, that's right, the Brunt work boot. It's the best-selling Marin work boot out there. It's only built, not just built for tough job sites, but it's built for completely any situation because it is waterproof. It is snowproof. Standing water, your feet are always going to stay dry. And it isn't just about work boots. They offer a range of high-quality gear built for tough jobs, heavy-duty work pants, weather-resistant jackets. Brunt designs are durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. They know they have the best boots on the planet, so they'll always let you try any of their products on the job. So choosing work boots doesn't mean you have to sacrifice durability or comfort. That's right. No sore feet, no nothing, and waterproof and snowproof at all times. So head on over right now. Get your holidays started, right? It's time to get yourself up with those hardworking man and that real comfort. So head on over and get some Brunt workwear. We got right now, listeners, $10 off. We can use the code CHGO at checkout. That's Brunt work boots. Check it out.
Let me be blunt about Brunt. They're good.
Ooh, very good.
Back on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Before the break, I teased Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers, leaving the Mets for 3 years, $69 million. They wanted a high-end closer. They got a guy that had a 1.63 ERA and converted 28 of 31 saves last year for the Mets. So much for that injury.
Yeah.
That's in the past.
Yep.
They now have, if Tanner Scott bounces back and is the guy that we thought he was 2 years ago, Tanner Scott, Vesia, Trinan, Roki, and Edwin Diaz.
That's crazy.
What?
But I will say, though, remember last year, I didn't really know you guys like this, but they got Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates.
Yes, and we thought it's over.
Oh, man, it's over. And both those guys sucked.
Yes.
So, like,
Kirby Yates on the street right now.
But to see, that's the thing. They have so much money that they don't care if they just blew $69 million on Edwin Diaz. They're like, if he's down, then you know what? Trinan will be back. We always got Roki. Right. And that's why I've been kind of banging the table saying, all right, let me put myself in the shoes of Jed Hoyer and Tom Ricketts. And I'm thinking value before talent. Mm. I'm not saying I don't want both. Right. I do. But I'm putting that value thing up here and then a talent over here. And I keep saying, the Dodgers did this last year. They started shoving guys out. Now, maybe we got the wrong guy last year.
All right.
But now, former White Sox closer / starter, Michael Kopech, is a free agent. And Jed has already talked about saying, we want a frontline guy, okay? I'm going to put that in as Amai or Gore or Joe Ryan or Cabrera from the Marlins, however, whatever the path is for getting that guy. And please, that needs to be the next thing you do. But then he wants guys that he said he'll also be into adding more to the bullpen. We don't know if that's Fairbanks or whoever. We don't know if they'll spend that much. He wants those guys that can do a little bit of both. He wants somebody that potentially could be Ben Brown, like closer / maybe
A starter.
right? Michael Kopech fits that mold. Michael Kopech will be available. Michael Kopech throws heat, something they're looking for. And Michael Kopech probably won't be with the Dodgers like next year unless they just decide, hey, what the hell, we're taking everybody. Right? Like, I don't think it's that they didn't like Michael Kopech. It's just they've upgraded from Michael Kopech to Edwin Diaz now. So what do they need Kopech? Shove him aside and somebody else can pay him. Hey, I'm willing to be the guy that picks up Kopech if I'm looking value because, number one, he throws hard. Number two, in a pinch, could I turn him back into a starter at some point? Maybe. But more importantly, I don't mind the idea of Ben Brown, Michael Kopech, Palencia, Maton, and some other guys, Porter Hodge. Now I'm starting to build a bullpen that isn't the Dodgers. But could it be a bullpen that does to the Padres what they did last year? The names weren't as big and they weren't as expensive, but they were just as almost effective. Yeah, maybe. I actually would like the idea of adding Michael Kopech.
Yeah.
Look, and Gary's in the chat saying the Cubs aren't talking to Kopech right now. Well, no kidding, dude. No offense, but no one's talking to Kopech right now.
Nobody's listening to me, Gary. Where have you been for 4 years? Nobody's listening to me.
Look, I just saying, I think for right now, you take this in steps, right? And I think Pete Fairbanks with Tampa is an interesting name.
I agree.
We both like Kyle Finnegan a lot. I think that's an interesting
name. That too.
I think that's someone that you can connect to the Cubs over the next couple of weeks is someone that you can bring in. And I think the market's got to work out with Kopech because honestly, people might want to watch him throw before they sign him.
Value. That's the value reclamation project. He could be this year's Keller.
That's a great January. That's a great January signing for sure.
It's not your next signing.
Oh yeah, because that's lightning in a bottle. And if you get that lightning, holy cow! Now your bullpen looks absolutely amazing. In regards to the Edwin Diaz thing. Never really on the Cubs radar, never really brought up here on the show. So personally, I'm not like freaking out about it. I'm not crying about it. It's just really funny that when you bring up Tanner Scott, then now $23 million is going to Edwin Diaz and 19 of it's going to Tanner Scott. Like, holy cow, that's unbelievable. We were talking about like Shota at 20 million and is he worth it or whatever? Shota's going to give you 140 to 160 innings next year. Yeah. And these two dudes combined aren't even probably going to give them that out of the bullpen, but they're both going to be dynamite and electric. And Justin, maybe my only broad point about Edwin Diaz just in general, if I could just be a baseball fan for about 2 seconds, is I like to refer the Dodgers. The Dodgers are quickly becoming that circus that comes to town. Like the Bulls.
Even though they won in 7 games.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be hard to beat them.
And guess who has an amazing walk-up song when he comes out in the 9th inning?
I was going to ask, is he bringing that with him?
He's
the best.
100%. I mean, God, like from the 1st inning to the 9th inning with this Dodgers team, when you go to LA and face them, man, I mean, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be fireworks and look like I want to beat them more than anything else. I think the money is frankly stupid. There was a report that the Mets offered a couple million below that. With the same kind of years and structure, but they decided, and they were willing to go up a little bit. He just picked the Dodgers, which is whatever.
Because everyone picks the Dodgers because they're the super team.
Right, and look, like I get it. I think that they can be beaten. There's nobody in baseball. There's nobody that is this impenetrable, immortal force. You can beat any team in baseball. Yeah. But I will say, just from an entertainment factor, again, like the Dodgers are going to bring more eyeballs to the game of baseball than ever before, and this just kind of adds to that. And I'm just saying, you mentioned those ratings in that World Series next to what a Super Bowl would look like with what you said, 51 million people tuned in for Game 7 of Blue Jays Dodgers.
Yeah,
and you're telling me right now that in 2027 the owners are going to walk away from that right now, and especially what's coming next year. Like
a couple things about the Dodgers. One is that they were literally that far away from losing the World Series. Don't forget that.
Sure, but the Blue Jays are going crazy too.
They are. But I will also say this, is that what the Dodgers, Edwin Diaz, with this big star closer going to the Dodgers, again, this is another reason why there's quite possibly going to be a work stoppage at the end of next year. The Dodgers are a perfect example of what's wrong with the baseball salary cap, soft cap, however you want to put it. I think it just adds fuel to the fire for those that are like, see, this is what we're talking about. The Dodgers are able to do all this stuff. Like, they're a big reason why I think that there was going to be a work stoppage at the end of next year.
don't hate the team that's doing it right.
No, right.
That's
for sure.
that's.
But the rules got to change.
Sure, I understand that.
They're not doing anything illegal.
No.
But what they did with Shohei Ohtani for me is criminal, and that's got to be changed and fixed for the next CBA.
Yeah, with the deferrals too. Also, like my quick one,
Yes.
just really fast is, hey owners, why don't you just not let people with $9 billion own baseball teams if you only want to? The large swath of people in Major League Baseball have net values of $1 to $3 billion, and then they let in a guy like Steve Cohen, the Rogers Corporation, and whatever the Dodgers have going on that are like $8-9 billion. Hey, you probably should have thought twice about that.
Yeah.
Just making sure this is brought up. More from Rosenthal on the Reds' pursuit of Schwarber. They're not expected to pursue other high-priced free agents. They pursued Schwarber because of the ticket sales that he would bring.
One and done.
Middleton,
Conviction.
Ohio.
The hometown.
I like it.
The hometown
They had
boy.
a crush.
Yeah.
They went for it. They got shot down, and then they're
ready
going
to
home.
just be in the playoffs, but not relevant.
Eating mac and
Notably,
cheese
Kyle
alone.
Schwarber would not drive Cubs jersey sales because people already own it.
True.
Already own it.
You
That's
know,
what
honestly,
I thought. The Cubs were like,
the
oh,
tail-
not enough jersey sales.
guys,
Unrequited love.
He's going to have to respell his name.
If you're a Reds fan, though, that would actually get me mad because think about it for a second. You made the playoffs, right? I know you wild, but then you have all this money ready for Schwarber. He says no, and you're not gonna spend it. Like that would make me mad as a Reds fan because like you're willing to put that out there. So now, okay, he said no. Let's get stronger so we're a better team for next year after coming off a playoff berth. That get me mad.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like maybe like when you trade for Kyle Tucker, and when you trade for that kind of player, you have to say to yourself, maybe I should be willing to spend $200 to $350 million on a player, but then like you don't even have a conversation with them in the offseason, but you're asking yourself, well, if they were willing to do $350 million a year ago, where's that $350 million now?
But were they willing to do 350?
they were willing to date him, but never to get engaged.
Right.
Never to get engaged.
That whole thing went sour, and I think we all were excited about it. And then I think we all, listen. I watched every playoff game with you boys, and we all were like, "Kyle Tucker." It just didn't work. It didn't work.
It was near an asking in the live YouTube chat at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel earlier, was asking about, are they trying to beat the Brewers or are they trying to beat the Dodgers? Okay. The answer is both. I guess it's one at a time, please. Can we get past the Brewers?
Right.
And the way to do it, in my eyes, is I don't know that you're out executing the organization because they've been beating your brains in for a couple years that way.
Right.
Start way overspending. I know your payroll's already way above what the Brewers is, but just put your foot on them and say, no, you are mid-market. You are the Reds. You are the Pirates, and you're not competing in this division. So that's how you add those other guys. I don't think the Cubs are willing to do that. I think they're like trying to show they can beat the Brewers the way the Brewers are beating them.
Ugh.
And I don't want to see that. By the way,
Me neither.
did I mention all the new merch that's out? Like
Good segue.
it's like if you wanna, you can look good this holiday season,
Right.
or you can look good this holiday season.
Wow, look
Right?
at those things.
We dropped some new lids. Look at these bad. First of all, the Blackhawks and Bull ones are my favorite.
They're
those are
sick.
Good.
Some sick drip.
That is
Sick
sick drip.
drip.
If
I
you
did-
want to kick up your sick drip, there it is.
I already bought the flag one on the far right. I bought that one.
I like the Bulls one, I think, the best.
I know. I was in between the Hawks one and the CHGO flag one.
But until the Bulls get serious, I can't buy the Bulls hat.
See, I like the black and white one with the flag. That's
Yeah,
That's
it's
the one
what I
Sarah
did.
went with.
Yeah, when we're talking like buying stock on a hat, I think the Blackhawks CHGO's hat is a stock you want to buy right now because
Really?
you are going to look probably
got the
pretty smart
feathers.
and cool in the next year or two. I like the colors. I like the obviously the multicolored feathers on there too. Sick.
Sick drip.
Sick drip. That's what it's all about. Chef Kevin says the Cubs don't draft and develop like the Brewers. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying.
That's why we have to spend money.
You're not going to
You're
win
correct,
that.
Chef.
The way you can win against the Brewers is spending you spend more money. Don't get me wrong. You're already spending way more money. Spend an obscene amount of money.
And
an absurd amount of
on the
money
right
more than the
players, too.
Brewers. On the correct
On the right
players.
players.
And to reiterate, sometimes when you also spend money on those high-end players, if it doesn't work out after a couple years, you can then trade said player to replenish your farm system if you don't believe that you are drafting and developing as good as other teams in the division. There are other ways to do it. Look at the Yu Darvish trade. We literally are taking Owen Caissie right now, and we're putting him out there, and people are having arguments of, oh, we need to keep Owen Caissie. We need to trade Owen Caissie. We got Owen Caissie because we spent the money on Yu Darvish.
Right.
There are different ways to replenish your farm system, and also, if you want to keep a guy, you can. If you want to extract value at his highest point, you can do that too as well.
Let me ask you guys. Oh, sorry. Let me ask you guys a question. You brought up Owen Caissie. Where, like, everyone wants Schwarber, but where do Caissie and Mo Baller fit in your plans here? Because you gotta at some point you gotta let these kids play, or yes, you have to trade them, right? So are either one of those two guys somebody you're like, no, next year that's my guy, he's my starter?
All right, let's answer that on the other side of a timeout. We asked that same question to the live YouTube chat or the CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. This is the CHGO Cubs Podcast presented by Toyota. If you haven't noticed outside, winter is here, Joey.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Reached last season's snow total already, all before Christmas. Another Arctic blast coming this weekend. It's going to be like a high of 7.
Oh, man.
Is your home's heating up to the challenge?
That's
the question.
Better be.
Time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. If you're thinking about a whole home generator, they got you covered for that, too. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs. No extra charge for nights, weekends, or even holidays. Save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with Four Seasons heating, cooling, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Their furnaces start at $39 a month. Ooh. Combo units at $57 a month. Call today and you save $50. Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. They've been serving our area for more than 50 years. Your trusted local experts. Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electric. Four Seasons heating, cooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's Four Seasons heating, cooling.com. Don't get left out in the cold.
And Luke, for some, Black Friday is only one day. But forget one day only. Black Friday is going on all month at Ray Chevrolet and Fox Slate. So come in today and shop the Black Friday sales deal and drive home with 10 to 30% off MSRP on new Chevrolet models. Plus, no payments for 120 days. Check out the selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And it's one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest. They're able to keep the prices competitive, so you're always getting a great deal. That's right. Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you're gonna pay. So go see for yourself. Visit our partner at a convenient location right on Route 12 in Foxley. And don't miss out on the Black Friday sales event going on all month long. 10 to 30% off MSRP Chevrolet models. Stop at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake, raychevrolet.com, serving the community since 1963. Let's drive.
All right, we got 15 minutes left here on the CHGO Cubs podcast.
Hot 15.
Justin, propose your question to us again.
So we're talking about Schwarber and Bregman. Listen, I get it. I wanted Schwarber more than anybody. But Joey brought up Caissie in a different context. But my question to you guys is, we have Owen Caissie and we have Mo Baller. We don't have enough spots on the field if we sign Bregman and sign Schwarber. So at one point, where do Owen Caissie and Mo Baller fit in your plans for 2026?
I think there's two paths for what the Cubs are trying to do right now. So there's a pivot. There's a pivot somewhere.
Pivot.
I believe January 2nd or 3rd or 4th, early January is when Amai has to make up his mind.
Yeah.
If Amai is the guy they've targeted in free agency as the pitcher they absolutely want, if you sign Amai, then Owen Caissie and Mo Baller fit in as DH and right fielder in some sort of platoon in right field.
With Suzuki.
That's how that works.
Okay.
And Shaw stays over at third base. Okay. You're going with all the young guys, and you got Amai. And maybe you start adding to the bullpen with somebody like Fairbanks, yada, yada, yada. If they don't sign their frontline starter that they're looking for, and they have to trade for that guy, whether it's Joe Ryan or Mackenzie Gore or Cabrera in Florida, then the pool of players is unquestionably going to change. Some of those guys are going to be involved in the deal.
Right.
And then you're going to have to – that's why the one thing that Jed said is true. It's good to be in all of the markets and having these conversations because they're not sure if they're going down path A or if they're going down path B, and they've got to be ready for both. I don't know if everything is hinging on whether or not Amai says yes to the Cubs or no, but it sure seems like it because I don't think there's another pitcher out there that you're saying, okay, this guy is the clear-cut favorite to be the path that they want. It seems as though he's the guy they'd be willing to sign for more money than anybody else. Otherwise, that frontline pitcher is going to have to come from a trade, and that trade is unquestionably going to include somebody like Owen Caissie. It's probably going to include somebody like Jackson Wiggins, and it might include somebody like Matt Shaw or Nico Horner. And now you got to shuffle the deck again.
Right.
And so you got to be thinking about, okay, what if Bregman's still available and is floating out there? All right, who can we put Mo Baller as DH, and can we put Seiya as the full-time right fielder, right? Like,
Right.
I think those might be the two paths. So I don't know that the Cubs have that answer right now.
Right.
Well, and just from a Cubs perspective, and first, really quick, I read a really funny report that Zach Gallen, Bob Nightingale snafu the other day. Zach Gallen was getting married at the time that all that news was coming down.
So crazy.
So
He was not taking a physical. Instead, he was on his honeymoon.
Yes.
It's, honey, check this out. You're in the news. Just from a Cubs fan perspective, and why I keep pushing for that impact bat, and now all the eyes will now turn to Alex Bregman of whether that's going to happen or not, is as a Cubs fan, I do appreciate what they've done over the last couple of years trying to implement new players. But as we've seen with every single case with a new player, it has taken them a moment to have a transition period. I have concerns about maybe not on the broad sense of who Owen Caissie is going to be as a player in 3 or 4 years. I have concerns about who Owen Caissie is going to be as a player next year. And it's very fair for a young player to have the highs and the peaks and valleys of a young player's career. It totally makes sense. And you look at his K rates and you look at his whiff percentage and you say, ooh, there could be some tough times for Owen Caissie. Yeah. Do the Cubs have the luxury of where they're sitting at right now after winning 92 games to let another guy develop? Do they have the luxury to say to themselves, we're going to have a lineup that's going to have Matt Shaw, Owen Caissie, whoever's at catcher, whether it's Carson Kelly and Amaya, or and
Mo Baller DHing.
And Mo Baller DHing. That's 4.
Right? And PCA.
And PCA is still developing, who I'm actually putting more in the category of I think that he's going to be okay, but Dansby's maybe in a slump. That's 5 guys in your lineup all of a sudden that you're worried might be automatic outs on a certain day. And I get it. Again, Sahadev Sharma said that the Cubs might be willing to take a step back on offense to take 2 steps forward with pitching. Be careful what you wish for. The offense was good. Was it that good in the second half? Are you telling me that we can't get a little bit more consistent in that area? So for me, it's with Owen Caissie, I just think it's more timing than it has to do with me and how I feel individually about the player. And honestly, Justin, between Owen Caissie and Moisés Ballesteros, do you have more confidence in one maybe more than the other? Because I would probably lean Mo Baller just as a pure hitter, a guy that I don't have to worry about as much as Owen Caissie.
But he's only a DH.
But he's okay. He's only a DH. I understand that. But like if you added Bregman, let's just keep living in that world. Okay. I would try and move Owen Caissie.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point you kind of have to. Now, Gary, who apparently disagrees with me all the time, he said early on that he
rarely agrees. It's okay.
He said early on that him and I finally agree on something, but then he disagreed with my Bregman assessment. But I will say, Gary, who seems pretty like he's in the know, he says that Alex Bregman will not take a contract anymore with opt-outs. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but my point is that I didn't want to sign Alex Bregman and then get rid of Matt Shaw if Bregman was going to opt out after 1 year, right? So if Bregman is going to be here for 4 years, I'd be more apt to trade someone like Matt Shaw to get your top line starter via trade, right? With the security of having Bregman in the hot corner. To answer your question, Joey, I have more faith in Mo Baller. I do. I think he's a pure hitter. I think he's just a great hitter. And I think that Owen Caissie,
he passed the smell test a little bit last year, right? I mean, and the small sample size that he had.
And we were clamoring for him to be part of the postseason lineup every game. We wanted him. Some people even wanted him instead of Tucker in the lineup because he's a pure hitter, right? So ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that, Cub fans have wanted a good young system for a long time. And here we got some guys that are like, they're ready. Okay. But what I don't want to have happen is let's say Mo Baller is your DH next year. Fans to be mad about that because what do you want? Do you want the young players or do you not want the young players? I agree, Luke. I said all along, I think there's a path of them going hard on pitching and then being young on offense. Because also we're talking about automatic outs, but also PCA could be a superstar next year. Sure. Matt Shaw could take a huge step next year and be this year's PCA. So at the end of the day, it's what are you going to do here? There's a lot. Luke, you're right. Lots of options here. I don't think any is right or wrong, but I'm excited about it.
The most likely path for the Cubs to take is to bank on the young guys to have explosive seasons and add to the pitching so that when you get to the postseason, you don't run into the problem you ran into last year.
Right.
If PCA is able to repeat that and Shaw is able to go to the next level, you've saved tons of money there. and you're spending it maybe on a bullpen more than you have spent. Maton's already done that. Maybe you do it with Fairbanks too, and maybe you get this pitcher. I question whether or not this is a dream world. This isn't what the Cubs are going to do. Is the best path, because you're just spending money and you have that, or is the best path trading for that guy and it's Joe Ryan? Like, I would rather have Joe Ryan because he's proven, but that takes away some of the option of playing a lot of young guys. Now Gary's right about Alcantara. The one thing I don't want to see the Cubs do is something they've done many times over and over, and it makes me nauseous. Overvaluing prospects and then not trading them. Whatever you're going to get for Kevin Alcantara right now is nothing because he's out of options.
Yes.
So this is a guy that was top 100 and you were like, oh, we could never part with Kevin Alcantara when you should have done it 2 years ago. Now, he still might be a major leaguer. You might be forced to turn him into a major leaguer if you trade everybody else away.
Yeah.
But your value for him has gone to nothing. Your value, you let Brennan Davis, your top prospect, go away. Nothing. Braylon Marquez, top prospect. Nothing.
Miguel Amaya, you could have traded several years ago.
Miguel Amaya, who's the pitcher I'm thinking of that was their closer briefly, then got hurt last year.
Porter.
No. He was their closer for a little while. Then all of a sudden his arm was no good, and last year it finally went away.
Oh, Albert Alzolay.
Albert Alzolay was a top prospect. Couldn't let Alzolay go away,
Right.
and now he got nothing for him. So that's one thing I don't want to see happen. So is it spending some of the prospect capital to make that deal for a proven major league pitcher, or is it better to just spend your advantage, which is the money, and hanging on to those prospects again?
Well, let's not forget, too, Happ and Suzuki are both free agents at the end of next year.
That's my
so you need guys to plug in, and these are top prospects that you can, plug in.
Well, and I was just about
to
slide in and say that this is a bit of a needle thread situation going on with the Cubs right now, where, look, I'm all for playing young players, and we've seen the success of that incremental progression, and Pete Crow-Armstrong is one of the best examples of that. And hopefully Cade Horton and Matt Shaw are the next examples of that this year. My only thing, and to your point, is that if I had faith in the Chicago Cubs that they were willing to consistently replenish the coffers on a year in and year out basis, I'd be totally cool with this. But where this team is right now, look at the core on this team. It is all veteran guys about to enter walk years. I'm all cool with giving Owen, Caissie, and Moisés Ballesteros 350, 400 bats combined or whatever it is. But a lot of these guys aren't going to be on the team next year. So what happens then after that? And my biggest thing, too, is that when you enter a window of contention, it's really kind of a point of no return. We went 83 wins, 92 wins. No matter what happens this year, are you telling me then that we're all of a sudden going to revert back to a younger version of this Cubs team and try and build it back up again? Build it back up from what? Because they didn't do anything with the window that they've just had, right?
But they still have. They still have that window.
They should.
Yes.
I think they should enter a 2. I think they should enter a 2 to 3 year window right now, where they're consistently, per their manager, Craig Counsell, saying, we're winning 90 plus games a year. We're going to the playoffs and we're taking swings, and let's just see what happens in the dance. I think that is a bit in peril if you get too heavy, as you said, Luke, on prospect hugging and not taking advantage of the core, the veteran core that you have on this team right now. You can inject it and inflect it with enough youth, but you can't go overboard and let all these guys take their bumps and bruises at the major league level right now when you have a 92 win team.
Which is why, Luke, I think that you could actually have both things happen. I think Amai is at this point a necessity because you need that fireballer to pair up with Horton. He throws hard. I mean, all things considered, he's been a dominant pitcher in Japan. And then also you could package a couple guys that aren't going to be playing for a McKenzie. I mean, if you're going to go hard on pitching. But
they've said they're only going to add one more frontline starter.
Okay, because frontline starter. But there's also
sure. But that's why I say, like, then you got to start poking around the Kellers, the Kopechs, guys that could be a little bit of both.
But look at our staff. I mean, if
Chris
it's Horton,
Bassett, Merrill Kelly.
If it's Horton and Amai and Boyd and Tyone, and don't forget Steele's coming back probably second half. I mean, Amaya is definitely a key to this offseason. The season's gone. I think Amaya is a key to the season for me to stay happy about. Yeah, we're moving in the right direction. You don't get Amaya, it's like,
then you're gonna have to trade for Joe Ryan to impress me.
Right.
And I agree. So we will see in the next 24 hours. Will the Cubs make me happy at the winter meetings and pull off a big deal? I don't know. If they don't, the only thing that's made me less happy in the last 24 hours is the fact that somehow these jackasses at the Golden Globes didn't include us as the top podcast.
Oh, they didn't?
We were not nominees.
Oh,
Can you believe that?
on.
Golden Globes, what kind of BS award is that anyways?
Man.
If it's not the Golden Globes, why do you want People's Choice Award is bigger than you? We don't want your stinking nomination.
Who did we offend? Who did we get mad in that panel?
Just
I'm removing these cushions and I'm sitting in this chair the way that it actually
oh my
should
God.
be.
bunch of
This
hacks.
is him without pillows.
This is my actual height, folks.
I'm on 3, so that if I take mine out.
Please, Jed.
Help
Please.
my son.
Sign Bregman.
Sign-
Please.
Here's mine. No
Help me.
Oh my gosh.
This is why we're not on the Golden Globes nominees for top podcast.
Smoke and mirrors.
Well, for the record, here's me with no pillows too. Like this is same guy. Same guy.
Anyway,
Need a lot of help.
I'm hunching a little bit, but still, Golden Globes. What a crap
whatever.
award that is. We don't want it
You know what?
anyways.
We got Emmys. We don't need Golden Globes. We got Emmys.
We got
And I
Emmys, and
look at
all
their
we
Emmys.
want is the respect.
Take that.
All that we want is the respect of the diehards.
Yes.
Like Gary Ross.
Yes.
Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. No matter what height we are, we're here for you. And we will be next time. Thanks for watching and fly the W. See you at 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Goodbye, sir.
We all silly like the mayor.